I'm Jonny Smith.
I'm Richard Porter.
And this is Smith & Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things.
Hi guys, welcome to the cast. We're in person for once because we are in an hotel room.
We are. I've got a really good view of the bypass from here because we always book the prestige rooms.
We do. I'm on the other side of the corridor, so I've got a view of the car park. Which there's nothing interesting out there, but this morning, because by the time I got to my room last night, it was dark, so I didn't know what was out there. This morning, I opened the curtains, pulled back the net curtain thing to have a good look at the car park, and I was sort of squinting. First thing, still waking up, squinting out there. There were a couple getting out of a Velar outside. And I was just sort of, and the woman turned round and I must have looked extremely strange. This sort of way-faced, squinty man. Also, I realised didn't have a shirt on. So.
Did really?
Yeah. I backed away very quickly in there, but that made it look worse. Then backed away and let the net curtain fall back in place, but it just looked more suspicious.
You might have looked like a hungover phantom.
Yes. So, for context, it's the morning after our Oxford mini live show.
Yeah, Oxford.
And so we came back to the hotel. It was quite late. It was about 11:30, so it's like it was midnight maybe.
It was close to midnight.
And we do those live shows and we're nobbing around talking shite on stage. And then we always, if we haven't had a delicious pint or similar on stage during, sometimes happens, but not yesterday because we were in a car factory, so we'd always quite fancy just a little whet of the whistle, and of course all the pubs are shut, so but as luck would have it, Jonny, you'd brought a bottle of Malbec with you.
Well, there was one in the boot of the Eagle Quest that I keep just in case, like a fire extinguisher.
Or like Jason Plato.
Yeah, or like Plato. And I have to say, this was actually a gift from a listener, Emma. And it's actually a very nice wine called Le Mécanique du Vin.
Ah.
So, yeah, it says here, meaning the mechanics of wine, a playful nod to the skillful winemakers who take freshly harvested, ripened grapes and work their magic to turn them into delicious, fruity, easy-drinking wines. And indeed it was. So we enjoyed all 13% of it.
Yeah.
When I mean we drank 100% of the 13%.
Yeah, and that was great. And then just as a chaser, I had a small bottle of this liqueur called Fireball, which a chap in the audience gave us yesterday. Thank you, sir. I didn't get his name, but
liqueur with cinnamon and whiskey.
Yeah, but the thing is, I like cinnamon and I like whiskey, and it turns out that they do actually go together better than you think. It was perfectly drinkable. I would say, I don't mean that as an insult, but and here we are in the most premier of inns of the Oxford bypass.
I forgot to mention during the live show, about the Black Ice Vest.
What?
Yeah, I've encountered a Black Ice Vest yesterday morning.
Well, didn't they do My Humps and other terrible songs? The Black Ice Vests.
No. It's this thing. There's a little couple of corners near my office, the Late Break Show office, and it's always in shade. So in the morning, it's a Black Ice Fest.
Fest?
No. There is a vest and a fest. Okay. So
the Black Ice Pest.
Well,
it comes around and pours water on shady patches of your garden.
I think it's like Jack Frost has got a Gold's Gym muscle vest on because these two corners are treacherous. They're at a strange camber and they've got a really aggressive curb on the wrong end. So there's a few cars that have slithered wide and then clonked a really aggressive curb. It's horrible.
Oh, well, and that's it, just tracking all over.
So I was coming round. I was coming around in the Quest.
Oh,
the Quest and I shit you not, I went round the Black Ice corner and I saw a black vest.
So you saw a Black Ice vest from the Black Ice Quest. Was it
the Eagle Quest?
So a Black Ice guest.
This is sounding made up, but it's not.
It sounds like a nursery rhyme.
So hanging from a tree on the corner of Doom, which is notorious for Black Ice, was a black vest.
Oh.
Hanging from a twig on the tree.
Did it say "look out" or something on it? as a warning.
"Worry ye now" or something. It was like, like a pirate.
None shall pass.
Yeah, like a ragged pirate flag.
Black.
It was a
vest
black
hanging from a.
just a black workwear vest, and it was hanging from a tree, and it was icy.
Had a heavy metal enthusiast recently
I
perished on that corner, perhaps?
It was
tribute?
was it a metal memorial? I don't.
So it raises a lot more questions than it answers.
So when you go into a corner that is going to be a little bit icy, and you're really, really feeling the steering extra sensitively, and you're hovering on the throttle, hovering. You're just letting the car almost skid. It's like walking on freshly mopped hotel lobby flooring.
There's a little bit of a sense of you're going to the car, your move.
Yeah.
Show me what you got, and then I will try and respond accordingly. But
exactly.
Let's feel our way around here.
And I was in, the long wheelbase of Luton's finest.
Yeah.
Or is it? Is it Bolton's finest? Because wasn't it?
Yeah. Those Senators were built in by Opel, weren't they? I can never say it. Is it Russelsheim?
Russelsheim. But then it was chopped in Bolton.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, that's boring. All you need to know is we went round there. It was a little skiddy, but I wasn't going in too quick. And I said it out loud to myself, like I was co-driving myself. I went, black ice, and then I looked right, and they went, black vest. Black ice, black vest. I just said what I saw. Black ice, black vest. And then as I went round the corner and carried on to the office, I was like, that wasn't there yesterday. So
no, that's weird.
Did a dog walker put it there in the early hours of the morning?
Was this when the storms were happening? There was that storm. What was it called? Storm
Vest.
Bert.
It was Storm Bert or Bertie. Yeah.
Is this because they go around again, don't they? They start at the beginning of the alphabet and Is
that what they do? I didn't know.
Yeah, and they alternate. I think. Male and female names, but they decided to go with a sort of old person vibe this time around.
We had a Brian a few years back.
Yeah, we did, but this time Burke, because you don't get, a lot of older names, or sort of names that are popular, for grandparents, have come back, and kids, you get like little girls called Martha and stuff like that, which once, had been. But there's certain names, and Fred.
Yeah.
Little boy's called Fred now, but, for a while Fred was grandparents' name. And
it's Japanese car names, like we've said before. I mean, how many Sylvias are there? Like women called, like girls called Sylvia right now.
No, well, that's it, isn't it? Certain names don't come back, like Lillian. You don't get little babies called Lillian at the moment.
No.
Nothing wrong with the name Lillian, but it's very much feels like an older lady's name. And Bert, I don't think you don't get a lot of Berts.
No.
Bertie, you do get Berties. My wife works with a Bertie and he's quite young.
Yeah.
I think if you...
Maybe people are into Japanese cars of a certain age. Maybe they're having families... And they should think about resurrecting those names. Going, I want to call my son Cedric.
Yeah.
On the basis of the Nissan.
Gloria. Gloria's not a name that's come back.
Gloria's not a name for a girl right now.
No,
I don't
but
think.
for a while,
yeah,
perfectly serviceable name.
Sylvia, Gloria. I mean, you could call a boy Cosmo, like an old Mazda.
It's true, you could.
Early rotary. Maybe Sade's got a son called Cosmo that we don't know about.
Demio could be a name.
Oh, yeah.
Oi, Demio, your tea's ready. Get in the house.
He's a footballer, surely. He's a born footballer.
Yes, yeah. I can't think what else. What? I mean, Figaro. Well, there's just sort of connotations of other things, of opera and stuff.
Yeah. You've made me. Yeah, you've made me.
Well, I mean, if you're going to go full footballer, of course, is there merit in "This Is My Son" prelude?
Oh, wow.
There's someone at the door.
Hang on a second.
I'll just do some light music until we've dealt with this.
Sorry, our systems are down. We don't know who's gone.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to put a Do Not Disturb song.
Yeah, I've just realised that they think I've gone because I'm not answering, and then our systems are down. We don't know who's gone.
I tell you what,
this must be a nightmare.
My
for the hotel
systems,
trade.
my systems are down because I realised this morning. You know my water bottle that I carry around.
Oh yeah.
It split last night inexplicably.
Did it get everything wet?
Yeah. So I woke up this morning and had a shower and got out of the shower and realised that my pants were soaked through. My clean ones.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing yesterday's pants, but don't tell anyone.
Oh. Did you turn them inside out?
Nah, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I just looked at them and went, they don't look terrible, so I just put them back on. It's fine.
Okay. No, that's probably all right. I mean,
the socks were dry though, weirdly. So it's like the it's like the bottler had done a tactical tip
Just
onto my under.
pranked you, basically.
Onto my
There's no
own.
fun in making your socks wet, but his pants, that'll really screw him over.
It's a lot. It's a bit unfair, that.
Now, mentioning as you did both black ice and loss of control,
Yes.
this brings me to the Dacia Spring that I'm driving at the moment, which I sort of half-heartedly tried to review during the live show last night, and I don't think people are interested.
No.
Damn it, I'm going to talk about it now, only because, first of all, chilly this week. When I got into it, it has a dashboard warning, as cars do. So the little temperature readout on the screen flashes if it's below, I think, 3, it seems like maybe. But then on the screen where the speedometer is straight ahead of you, it flashes up a thing. But it doesn't go, look out, icy conditions maybe ahead, or ice warning. It goes straight to black ice. It says black ice alert. And you're like, you've headed straight for the worst kind of ice there.
Yeah.
I don't know why they've done that.
Is there a logo of a little muscle vest?
There is not.
Like a little Jean-Claude Van Damme type spindly vest?
That's what I was going to say, though. It's like if the vest appeared in that tree when Storm Bert had hit, is it possible that somewhere in your area there is a heavy metal enthusiast looking at his washing line with despair and going, "Oh man, my vests."
It could be, couldn't it? There was definitely no band names on it. It was a plain black vest.
Marillion. Someone out of Marillion is currently looking rather... Yes, they're having to just wear a leather jacket with nothing underneath. Can you take your jacket off, Steve? No, I can't.
No. Can you imagine going to the boozer?
What, with a leather jacket and no vest underneath?
With no nothing underneath.
Oh, God.
I mean, you might even have a super Leggera neck chain like Martin Brundle.
Full Brundle spec, yeah.
Yeah, a real thin one.
The other reason I wanted to talk about the Dacia Spring, it's quite a jolly little car in many ways.
Yeah.
It skips along, you can feel its light, and one of the ways you can feel its light is that if you hit a bump mid-bend, or like a pothole mid-bend, it does get knocked offline. It doesn't have the mass to sort of ride over, because the ride is pretty decent in most conditions. Not perfect and not sort of super bungee, but it's good. But it's on very skinny, like 165 tyres.
Yeah.
Made by Linglong.
Oh.
The Chinese tyre company, often used as a shorthand for low budget Chinese made tyres.
But it's actually called Linglong.
They're actually called Linglong, but if you're sort of looking at a second hand car, I was doing this the other day, for some reason a mate of mine was looking at a car on Auto Trader, and I went, let's have a look at the tyres, because it seems like this car's been well cared for. Full history, 2 keys, all of this stuff. And I went, what tyres is it on? Because if it's on OEM spec tyres, then it's like, it was a 20-year-old car.
Yeah.
And we zoomed in as best we could on the pictures, and we were like, Luhan? Who the hell are they? Okay, no, it's on budget tyres, damn it.
Yeah.
And Linglong, there's always, people go, it's on bloody ditch finders, someone's to save money. And some of these things. This is the first time I've seen a factory car come on Linglong tyres. And it makes sense in that it's a budget car and those springs are currently made in China.
Yeah.
I think they're going to start making them in Europe for the Euro market, I read. Now, it'd be interesting to see when they do that, if they then locally source some different brand.
Locally sourced tyres.
Locally sourced produce.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they're on Linglong. So I put a picture of the wheel. By the way, I put a picture of the wheel. By the time you hear this, I've done something on social media showing what I've done to that car because, as I showed you yesterday, I don't like the wheel trims. They're blacked in, but they're a little bit silver. I don't think they're particularly attractive.
No. Agree.
I wanted to see what it looked like on the steelies underneath. Because it annoys me as well. You can see the steel wheels through the wheel trims. So why not just get rid of the wheel trims? But before I came to Oxford, I was in a bit of a hurry, so I took the wheel trims off only on one side because I didn't have time to do both. Just to see what it looked like.
So undercover cop on one side.
Exactly. And I think it looks excellent.
Yeah.
I may, in fact, for the return home today, take the other side off.
Well, I said when I did a walk around video of that car, like when it was first launched, I asked, the designer came over and had a chat with me, who was a really interesting guy, and I asked him if I could see it with the wheel trims off, and he was so glad to oblige. He did exactly that. He said, I'll take 2 off if you want to take a picture or do a quick video. I went, yeah, brilliant. And I did it. And I put a picture on social media and went, I think it looks much better. It looks more honest and rugged.
Exactly. That's what it is, which is it's a little cheap.
It's a cheap bloody car.
Yeah, so it's 14, I think, for the basic one. But then I've got the up spec model with the bigger battery, which, quite honestly, in this cold weather, it was giving a range of about 120 miles. Now, it's interesting that when I asked to borrow this car, Dacia said, yeah, sure. But then their PR office, in the sort of, okay, we booked one in, they said, and I'm paraphrasing, now remember it's a city car.
Yeah.
Basically, don't jump in it and expect that you're going to drive to Aberdeen in one hit, because it's not meant for that. And I fully appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, I would not do that in our E-Up either.
Yeah.
It is a city car. So the range, it's not a big deal, but we have a little electric city car in our house that my wife uses to commute in. And it is nice if the car can do a whole week of commuting without anybody to be plugged in, just because it's just one less thing to worry about.
Yeah.
I think the bigger battery Spring could do that in our world. Obviously, other people's lives may vary. But
no, but also you're almost doing it a disservice calling these things a city car.
Well, it's the thing.
Because you make out, if you drive 5 miles in London, that could take you half a day.
Yeah.
Well, it can, can't it? Because it's just joyless.
It could take you ages, yeah. So I was like, they're making a big point of, like, don't start criticising it because it's not very good on the motorway or so. But then I need to come here. And I thought, now I could zip up the M4 in my Tesla and no bother, and I wouldn't even have to think about charging it and all the rest of it.
But that's not how reviewing works.
That's not how reviewing works. And also, where's my sense of adventure? So what I did is I set the Spring has CarPlay wirelessly, which I always appreciate. So I'd already programmed Google Maps, take me to Oxford, but don't use motorways.
Yeah.
So it took me across the countryside. Yesterday, it was a beautiful day, and what a lovely... And they're still quite fast roads, some of them.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of dual carriageway. Actually, it was fine. It can cope. It's not... But also, it's still got a bit of that spirit of cheap small cars when they had little petrol engines and a manual gearbox.
So it's sprightly.
It's sort of sprightly, yeah. It's got a lot more spirit to it than the E-Up, which is sort of quite sort of Volkswagen-y and dour and sensible. But
yeah. But still good, actually.
But still good. No, I love our E-Up, and I don't know, what to do when it has to be returned to the lease company in March. But this is the thing. So basically, I'd say the Spring, the one I've got is about 17 grand, so it's not as cheap.
Yeah.
But what else is there in little EVs for that money? There's not.
No.
The rival for that car, in my mind, is a second-hand E-Up.
Yes.
And that's where I start to go, And I haven't shown the Spring, or I haven't got my wife to sit in the Spring or anything, because I was going to go, hey, maybe we could get one of these when your VW goes. I don't think she's going to like it, because the first impression is you slam the door and it clangs.
It's tinny. Yeah.
And the up goes, woof. It feels like a grown-up car.
Yeah.
And the dashboard is a bit, hard in the Spring. But I had, so what was it, like 2.5 hours I was in that car yesterday? Seats were fine, didn't give me backache or arseache.
Yeah.
It was quite good fun when you're sort of rousing across the countryside. And I probably could have. I arrived with 15% battery from 100% when I left. So I did all right.
And you had the heating on.
And I had the heating on because it was really cold, and the heater's not amazing. It's all right, but it's not got a heat pump. So, but anyway, these Ling Long tyres. I put a picture of the wheel on social media, and lots of people picked up, and I didn't mention it. Lots of people noticed the Ling Long tyres, and were like, "Bloody hell! Oh my god, that's going to be terrible." So, in the interests of journalism, I was like, "I'm going to see," because they're very skinny as well.
Yeah.
And it was damp yesterday, and it's like, actually, it has got a fair bit of grip. But I came in hot to a roundabout, and it was damp, and suddenly the grip ran out and it understeered. And I had a brief moment where I thought, if I don't ease off quite dramatically here, it's going to sort of skid towards a curb, and that would be terribly embarrassing. Having to ring you and go, I'm going to be late for the show because I've knocked out the tracking somewhere near Swindon. But it was fine. It was okay. Just as soon as I lifted off, it was like it got itself back into line. But the grip is lower than in anything I've driven for a long time, and it's almost, once you know that's part of the appeal of the car. It actually feels, although it's an EV and it's got wireless CarPlay and a digital speedo, there's something that feels old-fashioned about it in the best possible way.
Yeah.
It feels like cars used to be, where it's a bit more sort of, you've got to think about how you drive it.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it.
I think it reminds me in some ways of the mannerisms of my Gen 1 Insight.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's obviously got a battery on board, but it's a hybrid. And it's got ultra skinny tyres. And in extremely cold / icy conditions, it will skitter.
Oh, will it?
And most of them, if they've had any kind of accident, it's in those conditions, because they will go into a bit of a skip at the bit, because the rear track is narrower than the front.
Yeah.
So it will do this sort of like bum skip. Oh. Not violently, but just enough if you're on really, really narrow back roads that are a bit slimy.
Yeah.
And you can come up. And I've had one massive tank slapper on black ice, and there was no vest hanging from a tree to warn me, which is such a shame.
Come on, local councils, more vests to warn us.
Yeah, I think it is it should be neighbourhood watch and local council synergy, where everyone just hangs up a vest if they know it's going to be an icy night.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, anyway... The
band name's optional.
I don't know, are you going to book in a spring to test?
I'd like to book in a spring, because I think it's almost in a league of its own in terms of that bang for your buck.
Yeah, you can see why people buy them, because it's just, I know it's easy for us to go, because it's the thing, I get a second-hand E-up, but a lot of people don't want the hassle of buying a used car.
No.
So, and they just want warranty, and they just want to go to a dealer and go, here, please give me that. Or, they'll lease it or whatever, and so they just want to go new. But I don't know. I feel like the Spring is one of those cars where I would quite happily have one, but I'm not sure I would recommend one to people who aren't into cars. I think you have to have a bit of an understanding of cars, unless you're coming out of a 10-year-old car, in which case...
Yeah.
If you're coming out of like a 10-year-old 106 or something... Hang on, do they still make 106s 10 years ago? Anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
10-year-old Clio.
It'll feel modern.
It'll feel fine. You won't... But if you're used to a newer car, maybe from a company that likes to spend the money on door shuts and things like that...
Yeah.
Oh, the only thing there's another reason I don't think we could very feasibly have a Spring, is that the space in the back is not very good.
Yeah.
Boot's a good size for a small car. I mean, and God, it is a small car. It's really small.
It looks really skinny in the car park, because, of course, where we're staying in the hotel, lots of trades vans and people like that. So you get a lot of cold start tradesmen in the morning. Yeah. I heard it this morning. A lot of guys, they fire up the Transit or the Relay or whatever it might be, Movano.
Relay.
Do you know what I mean? Fucking Relay.
Really tight-fisted business there.
And
there's on new vans.
And they fire it up, and then they stand there for a while.
Yeah.
Just sort of chatting, or they're setting the nav, or the I don't know, whatever they're doing, coffee. So you get a lot of cold starting. But the reason why I'm saying this is, as I was trying to find a parking space last night in the Quest.
Yeah. Not
easy, because the wheelbase of a mayoral vehicle.
And excuse me, where are your mayoral parking spaces?
I did kind of straddle.
What did you do in the end?
I did a minor straddling.
Okay.
So I went up to the end with the nose, and the bum is hanging over a space bit. So hopefully a very late tradesman did come in hot last night in a Hilux and just clout into them. I haven't checked the bum of the Quest this morning. But I noticed that the front of the Spring, it was next to a van and like a Focus or something.
A CHR.
Oh, is that what it was?
How do I remember that?
Yeah, the CHR looked massive.
Yeah. Everything looked massive. Also, that wasn't really a space, as in, like, people, there were so many leaves over the lines, everyone had parked in a really sloppy way.
Right.
You couldn't have got almost any other car in there.
I love a narrow car.
And I was like, screw it, I'm too tired to find another space, because it was packed.
Bloody love a narrow car.
Yeah, on my drive, my drive's quite narrow as well.
Yeah.
It looks like a toy car. You can open the doors fully and everything. It's just, it's fantastic in that respect. It's really tiny, but yeah, there's no...
You could do a Sunday dad valet, with doors, boot, open.
Yeah, which I struggle to do without, worrying about grazing a door against a wall. But the Spring is tiny, but if I have my seat set for me and I'm 6'3", there is pretty much zero rear legroom, and that's no good because my kids are getting bigger, as kids do.
Okay, look, do you remember a long time ago when we talked about, it's when we used to do the video of Smith and Stuff rather than the podcast, and we used to frequent Bulldog services.
Yes.
And do you remember when we explored the surrounding villages and we went through Wendon Zambo?
Yes.
and then invented...
Wendon Zambo, yes.
As a
disgraced South African businessman.
That's right. Well, the other day, I went through a place called... and I thought, this could be his business partner or maybe financial nemesis.
Okay.
I went through Compton Pauncefoot.
Yes, Compton Pauncefoot.
Yeah.
Now, is he And he's British.
Yes, he is.
He was like his British business contact over here.
Yeah.
In fact, smoothed his passage in
To get citizenship.
post-apartheid South Africa
Yeah.
when Wendon Zambo, as a white South African who may have been involved in some very dubious practices, decided he'd get out of town. Compton Pauncefoot.
Compton Pauncefoot.
Pauncefoot.
Yeah, look,
Compton.
Compton, like where NWA are from.
Compton, but then Pauncefoot, like
Pauncefoot.
there's no other. What the hell's a Pauncefoot?
I was just giggling driving through Compton.
Compton Pauncefoot.
Hi.
Yeah,
At Compton
he's
Pauncefoot.
incredibly well spoken.
And he always answers the phone like this. Compton Pauncefoot.
Do you think?
Yeah, always.
Or is he one of those aggressively posh people who just answers the phone by going, "Yes,
Oh, really?
yeah"?
Or does he just say his surname like you would at a school? Pauncefoot.
When I was at school, my friend Mark Evans, his dad used to just answer the phone by going, "Evans."
Really?
Yeah.
So is it like a university challenge? When you
Pretty
press-
much,
when you press
doing
the
your
button?
own voiceover, yeah. Yeah.
Pauncefoot. Yeah.
Pauncefoot. What?
So I was thinking
Wendons.
Compton Pauncefoot.
How are you?
He's a total Bristol driver.
Yes, he is.
You know.
Oh my gosh.
He's got an 80s Bristol. What was the
Yeah.
Bristol which had the Senator rear lights?
That was the Blenheim,
The Blenheim.
wasn't it? Yeah.
I think you are right. He's totally got a Blenheim. A real heavy breather of a Blenheim.
Yeah, he has. You're right.
And he does a lot of short journeys in it, which is
He
unnecessary.
probably does, doesn't he? Because he just.
He won't walk.
Oh, God, he won't walk. Of course he won't walk.
No.
Well, it's all because he's so gouty apart from anything else. He's just incredibly gouty and incredibly brightly coloured trousers.
Oh.
And, yeah, he's a Bristol driver, no doubt about it.
He belongs to several gentlemen's clubs.
He does. I feel like he might fly for some reason. He's fascinated by it. So he's got
he
got
have
a
a bi-
pilot's license.
Does he have a biplane? Does he go vintage?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
He's owned
Because he
more
wouldn't just have
modern
some
things.
shitty little Cessna. Maybe he's got a biplane.
Yeah,
He'd love to have a Hawker Hurricane,
of course.
but they're quite hard to come by.
Yeah.
And if you did a breathalyzer test before he took his Tiger Moth up, you may find that he would have his pilot's license taken away again. But no one has, so
Again.
he's all right.
Don't talk about it, Compton.
Do you get, if you have your pilot's license taken away, is that it? Is it one strike and you're out? I'm not sure.
I think I've got someone listening to this because we have very intelligent listeners.
And we have pilots listening. 'cause
We do.
When I asked about landing at Bristol, the number of people I've shared that knowledge with since as well, sounding like a right know-it-all. Well, of course, the reason the Bristol is a particularly tricky airport is because of the weather, and they have to do Category 3 autolands.
The thing I think that where it went particularly sour for Compton Pauncefoot in the aviation department was when he sort of forgot where to land.
He's one of those
And
people.
he landed on his golf course
set
instead
it
of
down on the A46 by mistake.
he landed it on his local golf course instead of the
Okay.
nearby airfield, and then just strolled into the clubhouse
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
had some stout.
Stout.
I think he might have had. What do you think? What would he have gone for?
A brandy.
Oh, a brandy, old
Brandy
school.
or a big heavy red wine.
So he had a fortified wine or a brandy,
Yeah, yeah.
and then a brisk visit to the toilet, the lavatory, and then straight back out to the plane where there's just confused golfers going, "What the fuck?" There's like a ticking old biplane just
Yeah,
sitting there with
yeah.
painted canvas wings.
But he knows the guy who owns the golf course.
It's fine.
Tris, take care of this, would you?
Yes. And are they taking photos of me with their telephones? Get rid of that,
Yeah.
please. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Yeah, it's okay. She's okay. She was spluttering.
There's some whispers around the golf club about the circumstances in which his first wife died,
Oh no.
but no one wants to
Oh, awful.
touch on that because it's bygones.
Oh gosh.
It happened in like 1982 or something, so it may have involved. What would he have been driving at that point?
A Morgan,
A Morgan.
I think.
Hmm.
Which would have been what, a 60s car in the 80s?
Yeah,
That'd have been cool.
maybe a Morgan, maybe or something a bit more obscure like a Facel Vega.
Oh gosh.
But they're a bit foreign though.
I-
Actually, scratch that. No, too foreign. Too foreign for him.
I've got such a thing for a Vega.
Yeah,
I know
me
we've said
too.
this several times. You just look at pictures of them and you can get lost in your desires. Lost in my desires.
Yeah, no,
for
that's
the Facel.
I could happily. Well, I don't say I could happily have a Facel Vega. What am I going to do with it? Park it on my narrow drive.
I was going to say, you'll have to leave it on the road, and that's just no place for a Vega.
I can't do that.
Facel Vega's almost like another guy at the golf course.
He is. Where's he from? He's South American, isn't
Yeah.
he? Facel Vega, but they can't quite work out where in South America. He's always a bit evasive, like it's a country that maybe...
Yeah, did
Well,
well in the
those
coffee bean empire.
Yes, or
Facel.
one of those countries where they found gold and oil, and
Yeah.
then somehow most people still live in poverty. But Facel Vega seems to be doing all right, but also he can't ever go back.
He's doing ever so well for himself. Got quite a pock-marked face.
Yes, he has.
Yeah,
And he still smokes a lot of cigars.
he does, and sort of like breathe. Is it called the dragon breath when you breathe out the exhale the smoke really aggressively through sort of gritted smile?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how you. Yeah, I don't know how you describe that. But he dragon mouths out.
Okay, Wendy's.
Yeah.
There's a saying in my country.
Oh yeah.
When the monkey has the fruit, everyone is happy. It doesn't translate very well, but this is what they say.
Yes. He's that. Yeah.
Now, he has a Maserati Quattroporte.
Oh my gosh, he does.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Stinks inside.
He made the terrible error, right? When he was learning the roads in the UK, pre-sat nav, he was. It's a terrible thing. He was meeting someone in Woburn Sands for a power lunch.
Yeah.
And accidentally went into the safari park. But he didn't know what a safari park was.
We don't have these in my country.
And then unfortunately for his Maserati, it sort of got pecked apart by birds and monkeys.
Yeah, it's got no wipers now.
The gibbons took a shitload of it.
Yeah.
The gibbons to the point where there was a really irate phone call to, I don't know, HRO and afterwards with a huge list. I must get these immediately. I need to order. And they were like, I'm sorry, sir, what?
These monkeys, they took my trident.
Yeah. They took the trident, the wipers, they took the centre caps from the wheels.
Oh, God.
No, in fact, being a Maserati,
caps,
they just opened the door and took the headlining, they took the carpet.
God, that's it. The monkeys got into the Maserati.
All the switches are gone.
Do you think people from countries, equatorial countries with jungle and things, they come here and they look at the safari park and they just go, "You people are nuts.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?"
Well,
It's really weird. Imagine if you went to somewhere equatorial in South America or Africa and they'd set up a whole park dedicated to grey squirrels, blackbirds, crows, robins, foxes and badgers. And people were queuing up in their cars to drive through and look at them. And you just go, what are you doing?
what, idling an engine next to them?
Yeah.
Look, they're in their Audi Q5. No, SQ5.
Oh, wow, look. There's a magpie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't. That's a very, very good question.
I don't think they have. Unless anyone knows differently. But I'm going to say that if you are in, say, Ecuador or Brazil, for that matter, they don't have safari parks.
No, yeah. But the thing about Facel Vega, although he really misses the weather and gets quite angry about British weather, like a lot of foreigners from warmer climates do.
Yes, my wife.
Yes, your wife.
Still sometimes
moaning
gets cross with the weather here. You're like, you're wasting your energy.
If you go around to Facel's house and he makes you a coffee, you're off your tits.
Oh, my God.
You're off your face for days.
Yeah.
Days.
Yeah,
He won't tell you where he gets his beans from.
No.
It's a secret.
Where does he get his beans from?
I don't know where he gets his beans from, but he doesn't drive. See, he does drive high-powered sports cars and things, but when he just wants to go into town to run a little errand, he will always take a scooter. He's not afraid,
Oh.
but refuses to wear a helmet because he just thinks it's just stupid.
He's got great hair.
He's got amazing Euro hair.
Yeah.
And just can't. He just thinks the British are being petty about having to wear a helmet and
Slightly elaborate sunglasses.
yeah.
Like they could be mistaken for women's sunglasses, but they're not. And he wears them so well, you're never going to say
Yeah,
it.
no,
But you
no,
just go, if I
no.
wore those, people would go,
Yeah.
have you borrowed your mum's sunglasses?
Yeah, women think he's Julio Iglesias, basically.
Are you thinking, when you say he's got a very pockmarked face,
Yes.
you're thinking of the baddie from that weak Bond film? Was it License to Kill?
Yes, I
What's
am.
his name? I can't remember the actor's name.
No,
and he
but-
had a Maserati. He had a 425 or whatever.
He is that actor.
Yeah.
It's exactly that guy. And I think didn't he have a lot of gold on and a lot of cigars on?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Might have even had a gun that was platinum plated or something.
Possibly.
You know, one of those sort of gangster guns that's got
And
pearl
a
in the
four-door
handle.
Maserati, and he was up to no good.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
That's Facel Vega.
Oh, now, I know this is not an Otto
I really want.
sock.
If someone's got a Facel Vega and it's less than 20 grand, can you get in touch? I just need to know.
Of course, now I can't find this because I'm an absolute sleeve. I printed this off when for our live show. It was because I wanted to maybe discuss it on stage, but no, I'll never find it.
It's all right. While you're doing that, I know there was something I was going to mention.
Yeah.
I was going to mention the fact that when I was driving to work on the A1 the other day,
Yeah.
I saw a Skoda Superb saloon,
Oh,
the one that's a hatch and a saloon,
Okay,
which I
the
still
first
think
one.
is,
Yeah,
still
yeah.
think it's a genius car.
it wasn't the first one, was it? It was.
Is it the second one?
Yeah, yeah,
And as I as it slowly overtook me,
yeah.
slow enough so you could really see what was going on, there was an old chap driving it.
Yeah.
And in the back, on the other side, like a taxi, was quite an old lady.
Right.
But even better than that, she was underneath. I wrote this down. She was She had her legs up, like they'd put the passenger seat all the way forward, like a
Yeah.
taxi driver sometimes does.
Yeah.
And she had a full duvet and a blanket over her. So she turned.
What?
She turned it into a OAP bedroom. It was amazing.
Fair enough. That sounds quite nice.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
And they've got loads of room in those cars. And
Loads.
I bet, and it's got a lovely ride.
Yeah, and she had one of those long haul flight head pillows,
Oh.
neck pillows,
She's really dug in.
like a
for
horseshoe pillow. I don't know what you call them.
that. Do you think it was a taxi?
No,
Do you think they were a couple?
they're a couple. It was really in good condition, and there was no like
Hey, it
higher
wasn't-
plaques.
I can say, although I don't think this would be possible anymore, but Anne Robinson out of the television,
Yeah,
she used to have a Mercedes, I think, W124 estate.
I bet she did. And Diamond.
Anne Robinson, not Anne Diamond.
Oh, sorry.
Although Anne Diamond might have as well.
Okay,
Anne Robinson off Weakest Link.
Okay, yeah. She the one that doesn't smile.
Goodbye. Yes.
So Anne Diamond smiles all the time.
Yes, Anne Robinson doesn't.
Doesn't.
Yeah, that's how you remember them. You've got to have a system. If you're trying to remember your Annes,
Yes.
Smiley Anne Diamond, Serious Anne Robinson.
When I'm saying Anne Diamond, I don't mean a diamond.
It's quite confusing, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, Anne Robinson had a Merc, I think 124 estate,
Lovely. What a
with a mattress in the back.
Oh.
And because she lived in Gloucestershire but worked in London,
Yeah.
making Weakest Link and Watchdog, when she'd finished filming for the night, her husband would drive the Merc back to their house in Gloucestershire, and Anne would sleep on the mattress in the back.
No way.
Yeah, now I
She was...
think her husband died a few years ago, so it wouldn't be them in the Superb. But that sounds like a full Anne Robinson setup. They're going, we've got a long journey. You drive, Cyril, and I am going to duvet up in the back.
But Anne is inadvertently turning herself into a Euro NCAP javelin. Isn't she?
Yes, I know. That's
Honestly.
Well, it was a different time, wasn't it? I think this was probably in the 90s. I don't know. So,
different times.
hang on. This, I believe, I know this story because I think she was an early guest on Top Gear, and she told this story when she was on the show. I don't know if it made the edit or not, but it was a long time ago. But I think that her husband died a few years ago.
Do you know what? The other thing, I've totally missed the memo for this new piece of flashy tech on cars. I was following, I'm pretty sure it was a BMW the other day, and it had fading indicators.
Yeah.
When did they come out? Like in the last 12 months?
Yes, probably. They're quite recent, and I think maybe BMW are in the vanguard of this.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has seen this. So the indicator doesn't click on, click off, click on, click on, and it doesn't strobe. We know we've got the strobing ones, the chasing ones. But this was actually fading up and down, like you're wanging up and down a dimmer light in a bedroom.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's completely pointless. And I don't know if I dislike it or not.
No, it's probably like the scrolling ones where initially you go, ooh, that's quite novel and interesting. And then when every car's got them, you just go, all right, we're done here now.
Yeah.
A bit.
Those aftermarket rear light clusters that I put on the Suzuki Jimny, you had a little switch on the back of the unit before you fitted it. And you could turn it to chasing or normal.
Ah, yeah.
And for a while I had them on chasing. And then as I followed it one day with my ex driving, I kind of went, I think it's not very Jimny-ish. So I switched them back.
Yeah, I remember the Jag I-Pace. For some reason, only the top model had chasing indicators. So when we had one, it didn't. But I think I drove a top model press car or something and discovered that you could deselect the chasing indicators if you wanted.
And did you?
Yeah, I think I did.
What? You sad little...
Well, I saw the thing and I went, I don't really like these, so I'm going to turn them off because people, I don't know. I mean, they don't bother me that much.
There's so many...
They're just ubiquitous now, aren't they? But
I think it's a Korean car and also Chinese car thing that I'm noticing at the moment, possibly predominantly EVs. The selection within the menus is so detailed.
Yeah.
Like I even found driving that smart #1 that someone has set it to when you turn the car off and lock it up, it closes the panoramic roof blind.
yes.
And I don't want it to.
Can you tell it not to?
But I can't find that. I found all the other settings to do all the other weird intricacies.
Why? I suppose because I think the first cars that I noticed did that were Skodas.
Were they?
And I thought it was very thoughtful because then the car doesn't get too hot if you're away.
Yeah.
But then I guess the Smart doesn't auto-open it again when you get in. I think the Skodas used to go back to where you left it.
Quite.
Which is, I mean, surely that is possible within the programming. If you've got the tech to do the closing automatically. But
I set the tailgate, the electric tailgate, where you can set it to be like 40 degrees, 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 70. So you can set it at full forehead cracking height.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, that's horrendous, I'm going for full. But why would you set it on not quite that? Because you're not tall enough?
Yeah. And yeah.
So all these thoughtful little incremental menu changes you can make. But I wonder...
You can do that. I think a lot of cars you can do. You can do it in my Tesla, but you'd have to do it by... You open the tailgate, you pull it down to where you want it to stop, and then I think you hold the electric button...
For 10 seconds or so.
10 seconds, and it bips. And
so like a memory seat.
It's a memory seat, yeah. And I think other cars have got that. It's one of those things. But there's too much choice. I always have this...
There is
sometimes, our kids come down a weekend, and my wife will go, right, what do you want for breakfast? Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want that? And I always go, don't give them so much choice.
Yeah.
They don't need it. Just tell them they're having... Shreddies, yeah.
Done.
And because my argument is, adult life is full of choices and it's exhausting.
It is.
And cars are just making it worse. Yeah. Too much choice. How bright do you want your interior lighting? What colours do you want your interior lighting? It's like some of it's quite fun, and some of you just go, I don't know. You decide.
Yeah.
I mean, adaptive chassis shit is the one for that, isn't it? You just, after a while, you just go, none of these are quite right. Or are they? I don't even know anymore.
No, and I don't know whether it's a generational thing. Where a lot of younger people love, because my son loves to know how many different changes you can make on each button or thing. Yeah. Talking of which, I know what I forgot to say to you. So last week I was putting some new flooring down in my rented garage space that I'm very thrilled about. Can I just say?
Good.
I'm really thrilled about it because it's warm, it's draft free, and it fits in excess of 4 cars there. So thanks very much to the guys at Ignition Cars and Coffee for renting me a slice of their lovely area.
Cars and Coffee?
Ignition Cars and Coffee, yeah.
Are they American? Do you only get access to it at 3 a.m?
No, I get 24-hour access because I'm renting it now.
Yeah, okay.
And it's lovely. So I've put some of this Duramat flooring down, which is just great. So I set aside the afternoon to do it with my nephew, and you get given a nylon hammer to knock these tiles into place. They interlock.
Okay, yeah.
And it's quite a satisfying job. We were cracking on, and for a bit of a joke, I was playing some Chris de Burgh on my phone because I worked out that I can make him work faster if I played it.
I sometimes have a theory that even if you profess to hate a band or musician, there's one song that you actually quite like. There's a friend of mine who she always used to go, bloody hate Pet Shop Boys. I can't believe you like Pet Shop Boys. I hate them. I was like, you hate? Oh, she went, well, West End Girls. I like West End Girls. I hate them. I was like, so you don't hate them completely then?
No.
And it's Chris de Burgh. What's that one about paying the ferryman?
Don't pay the ferryman.
Called Don't Pay the Ferryman.
It's good. That's one of the ones. I
quite like that.
It's don't pay. It's very high energy. And
yes, well, that's why I like
with
it.
a bit of hectic synth in it.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Don't pay the ferryman. Don't even set a price.
Also, I like defrauding water-based transport companies. So lyrically, it really appeals to me. Or is it? Hang on, is the lyric "Don't pay the ferryman until he gets you to the other side"?
To the other side. So you're holding him to ransom? Is that?
Well, I don't know. Is this how Chris de Burgh conducts his life? Or how does he get on a bus?
It goes.
Excuse me, I haven't paid your pay. I will pay you when I get off.
Yeah,
that's not how it works. Well, it is with me because I'm Chris de Burgh.
Can you imagine him when he's half?
The bus driver until he gets you to the town centre.
Minicab drivers mistrust him.
Well,
in case he does a runner.
That's how it works, isn't it?
But they might think that because you haven't driven him as well as he'd hoped, he just gets out and walks off, and you have to go, no, you owe me 12 quid.
But
no,
what if he's on the train from London to Manchester. See a ticket, please, sir. I haven't bought a ticket yet.
Oh.
When you safely deliver me to Manchester, then I will buy a ticket. Now, again, Chris, that's not how it works. Well, it is with me.
It is with me.
Yeah.
I reference my award-winning song, possibly award-winning.
He's got...
Don't Pay the Ferryman.
What does Chris de Burgh look like now?
Well, his hair still looks, unfortunately, like it's been put in one of those trouser presses that you don't get in a hotel room anymore.
When did the hotel industry finally go, do you know what? Relatively few of our customers need to decrease their trousers.
I don't know where they've all gone.
Trousers? Because you can buy, even Premier Inn, which is a relatively low budget hotel, if you ask them nicely, they'll lend you an iron and ironing board.
Yeah, will they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, they certainly will in the hub, the spin-off hubs, which I'm a big fan of for
Massive hub fan.
urban hotels. And they definitely will, because when I'm staying there, you go down the corridor and there's often just an iron and ironing board outside someone's room, and I don't think they've brought it from home. I think you ask nicely, they'll lend it to you because they appreciate sometimes you might have it and shirts that needs ironing
Maybe
for an
there's a
important
trouser
business meeting. But nobody goes...
There's a pull trouser press that's available.
Maybe they
for
wheel it to your room, yeah, attached to a bit of wall still, but yeah. So Chris de Burgh.
So Chris de Burgh does have hair that looks like hair. That looks like it has been fed into a trouser press, I think.
Yeah, he's gone back a bit. It doesn't, because he used to, when his hair was quite thick, it sometimes looked like he got...
like he got it on the wrong way.
He'd gone into the barber and then accidentally sat the wrong way around in the chair.
Don't. Can you imagine if Lego, who are just the ultimate slags and they'll do a bloody licence with anybody, imagine if they did a Lego Chris de Burgh. It would look just the same. Anyway, the reason why I brought up Chris de Burgh off of Don't Pay the Ferryman, off of Lady in Red,
yes,
is because so Oscar, my nephew, is helping with this flooring in the garage. Every time he stopped, he'd go, "Oh gosh, this is terrible." And I went, "Yeah, it is quite bad." So he'd just carry on hammering, and he was working quicker, which I thought was great. So I was on the clock. I needed to do the school run that day. And you know when you get a bit carried away and then you suddenly look at your watch and you go, "Oh gosh, I should have left."
Yeah.
I got up and went, "Right, I'll come back and pick you up, Oscar. Just I'm going to go out and do the school run, get the kids." Ran outside with my coat on. And then, you know, when you've got a key which is a proximity key and you just press the door handle, blah, blah, blah. And I was in the smart. And I pressed for the door handle to come out to greet me and it didn't happen. And I was like, oh, I must have left it indoors. Went indoors and looked around where I put my bottle of water and my snack bar and all the things while we were working on our knees, and it wasn't there. Uh-oh. So then I unzipped my coat and I've got loads of crap and paraphernalia in my coat. I thought maybe it's in there, just can't detect it.
I noticed that last night when you were trying to find the keys for the Eagle and you were pulling out like lanyards from stuff.
I'm terrible at the moment. Anyway, it wasn't in there. So I'm in this situation of like, I've left a little later, or I'm leaving a little later for the squirrel than I should have. And now I just can't find the key to the car. And I've parked the car in front of the roller shutters, which mean that any cars in the garage, so I could have think I'll get in a Tokyo taxi. That's in there. That's on the button. I can't, because I've parked across it. Half an hour later, both kids have phoned me and gone, where are you?
No.
And I've gone, well, I'm just going to be a little bit late. Something's happened.
Guys, here's the situation.
Yes, it was like that. And they thought, no, you've just forgotten to pick us up. I'm like, no, I'm running around looking for the key for my effing car. I'll fast forward through this. I still couldn't find it, and it got to the point where this is embarrassing. The kids are waiting. So the guys who I rent the workshop off came over, because they work on their cars after work. And they went, do you want to borrow a car? And I'm like, have you got one? He went, yeah, you can borrow my, he's got a Alfa Tonale plug-in hybrid.
Oh, okay.
And he went, I mean, it's a bit dirty inside because it's my company car, but you're welcome. So I grabbed it and was very thankful. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Lewis. And drove in the Tonale there, and it was great, actually. Got there EV.
Was it?
Yeah, it was really good. Got there EV only, and
toenails.
yeah, really nice dashboard. And so I was sort of inadvertently speed reviewing it in my head as I was going to fetch my now quite cross children, which I felt bad for. I arrived and they went, "What? Why are you in this?" And I went, "I'm borrowing it because I can't find the key to the other car." They were like, "Still?" I went, "Yes, still." Came flying back straight into the garage again, and my son, who's really good at sniffing things out, went, "I'll find them for you, Daddy." But there was a pause, and then he went, "What's it worth?" Oh, he's such a hustler. He's a hustler, but he's been talking to Compton Pauncefoot.
I think he has.
He wants a deal. And by this point, the guys who have borrowed the Tonale off, they're like, "Well, you haven't moved out of this room." I went, "No," and I've been putting flooring down, and all I've done is move to push.
Oh, wait, I threw that carrier bag of spanners in a river. Maybe it's in.
And I said, "Well, I've leant into that to the taxi to put it into neutral to push it forward, and I've pushed the beetle forward." So I've leant, and when I leant into one of the cars, I heard a small
we're
clatter.
zooming in here.
So I'm now crawling under the seats of the car, going, "Seriously, WTF?" Well, he went, "Have you walked anywhere else?" I said, "Yeah." Well, they checked the CCTV to see where I'd walked.
What?
They checked the
So
CCTV.
there you are doing handstands over that open drain.
Yeah, you've lent into that. They went over there, but they said, "We've checked all the places where you've been."
CSI Johnny's car keys.
He went to the other side of the room where one of them has a beautiful Ferrari 308
I just saw that in that picture.
in that incredible green colour.
lovely.
Sweet car, thrust SSC. And he went onto his hands and knees with a torch, and he said, "Is it white?" I went, "Yeah, it's a white puck. It looks like a hockey puck. It's under the Ferrari.
What?
It's under a car that I've not been near for the whole time I've been."
You dropped it and then maybe kicked it.
I think I inadvertently kicked it as it fell out of my pocket.
Yeah.
And it must have just skittered silently across the smooth floor.
Like someone serving in that crazy Malaysian sport I showed you yesterday.
What's
I
that?
can't remember the name of it.
That's a very
So
random
basically
sport.
do a massive flying kick to serve.
But I wonder if anybody else who's listening has done a sort of phantom key loss.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it's so...
It was so
frustrating.
infuriating
Yeah.
because I felt like I'd been cheated out of life because I was really enjoying the flooring process. It was very therapeutic.
Also, did you not sort of project forward to tomorrow, Johnny, who's now got to find a way of moving an immobilised car out of the way of a roller shutter?
Yeah. So we'd already had the conversation with the guys and said, "Have you guys got a pallet?" So they got quite an industrial pallet truck.
Oh.
So I was going to lift the Smart up with a pallet truck and move it like 4 feet to the left because that's all you needed. All
You
these
still got to have the
scenarios.
awkward conversation with people at Smart explaining that you've lost the key to their brand
Yeah,
new car.
exactly. And my daughter was like, "Well, you just go and get a key cut." I went, No, it doesn't work like that these days. In the 80s, you could do that with cars, not now.
Did you hear yesterday when we were looking around the Mini Factory? I was curious about this. At what point does a car get a key?
Yeah, you did.
Because in the modern age, obviously in the old days, I guess the ignition barrel and the locks are all matched.
That's right.
From the supplier
With stamped serial numbers.
with serial numbers and 2 keys, and that all gets fitted to the car. And I don't know how it used to work in the old days, but maybe the key is then attached to the car somewhere
I bet it's tied to the steering wheel
in a little baggie or something.
like a lanyard.
Yeah. But in the modern computer age of keyless start, what happens, and it's quite interesting, it's fairly late in the process, it's the last bit of the final assembly line,
Yeah.
just before the car gets fluids, I think. It's got its ECU, and then effectively a blank key or keys is paired with the car, and at that point it gets a key. But before that, it's sort of
Yeah, because they
free spirit.
Because they said as soon as it's had its fluids vacuum, they put it into it using gravity feed.
Yeah, so they don't pressure, put oil in and water in, coolant in, under pressure. They suck out the air in the system
And let it gravity feed it in.
Just lets the liquid go in.
And just after they've done that, they said they use an internal Bluetooth system to fire the car up remotely
Yeah.
without the key, effectively.
Effectively, I guess, yes. But I wonder there must be security implications there, so maybe it needs to see the key as well.
There must be something. So it fires itself up
Yeah.
to say, I'm alive, and
It
then
does all its lights.
does a systems check.
Does its windows.
Just before it goes over what looks like, when you win a marathon, or
Yeah.
you finish a marathon, you go through an inflatable archway which says, I don't know, sponsored by Flora Butter.
Yeah, usually.
The
that,
car sort of passes over that threshold,
Yeah.
and then it's
free.
It's free, and it's going on a transporter, on a train or whatever. But just before that point, it fires up on its own and goes, "Hey guys, I'm alive."
And with the self-driving, or certainly driving assist hardware and software that's in cars now, they said that quite soon the cars will drive themselves off the end of the line. BMW are already trialling it in another factory.
I want to see this.
I want to see it.
Do you?
Yeah.
So BMW, if you're listening,
I welcome our robot overlords.
can we
That's quite impressive,
Can we see
isn't it?
cars being birthed and then waking up on their own, and then driving off the production line on their own?
I find I slightly struggle with this in the same way that I was really impressed with how automated the body in white assembly was in that factory.
Yeah.
And there's just like, it was weird when you saw a person.
Yeah.
Suddenly there'd be a guy just checking something and you'd be like, wow,
Yeah.
there's a human being here.
Well, they're feeding the hoppers of the just-in-time rows of parts that the robots pick off the shelf or the stack to add to the jigsaw.
Yeah.
That's
What was the level of, in
really
body in
good.
white, what was the level of automation? So
92?
Yeah, 92, and they're aiming towards 95 and beyond. And it's like, you do realise, one of these things where you realise that Elon Musk is full of shit. Because you remember when he tried to create his mega factory thing, and it was like the machine that builds the machine, and of course he totally screwed it up. It didn't work. He had to take all the robots out again. And if he'd actually know anything about cars, he would know that GM tried the same thing in the 80s and it didn't work. And they had a field of robots that they didn't need because they'd done it so badly. And obviously the tech's come on a long way, but they did it so badly. One of the problems they had in the paint shop was the robots were just spraying each other,
yeah.
which they don't do anymore.
I like seeing the paint robots. And this was the other thing that really fascinated me, is the robots that paint. They've all got these little cloaks on.
Yes,
that you might have seen. So they don't.
like a dog in winter.
Yeah, like a dog winter coat. But they all are fed all of the pigments the car's being painted in.
Yes,
with separate supply.
they must have a little cleaning squirt, surely.
They must have a little purge squirt. And also, we've all had one. But you know when you go into a bar or a pub and you have the little trigger thing,
Yes, yeah,
which
yeah.
delivers the Coca-Cola
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the Sprite or
Yeah.
the Fanta or the...
It's Pepsi and it's off the pump.
Yeah, so that they all have their own capillary tubes inside.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for a robot painter.
Yeah.
And that's why, pretty much from what I can gather, why there's less paint choices on a mass-produced car now.
Yes, it's one of the reasons, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and they just don't want us to choose as much. Despite
Well,
the
people
fact-
don't order it. I've just written a feature about yellow cars for the road rat, which will be out soon, and almost every car manufacturer offers yellow, but nobody buys it.
Is this true?
0.6% of all cars registered last year were yellow.
Oh my
Tiny.
gosh, I bloody love yellow cars.
Even McLaren, 4% of McLarens are yellow.
So yellow's going to become
2% of Porsches in North America are yellow. It's like tiny uptake, but most car companies offer at least one model in yellow. And the reason is because if you just, as I spoke to a colour and trim expert, and she said that if you just had the colours that people buy at the moment, which tend to be black, silver and grey,
Yeah.
your brochure, your configurator look really dull.
Oh my gosh.
Yellow is a classic zingy, punch it out.
So is this a token gesture?
It's a token gesture. It's the one colour. It looks really good on supercars and things like that. It just reads really well on there, but it also zings up a little hatchback. So, that's smart.
Yeah, and Peugeot do a great yellow in their 208.
208, yeah. But, the uptake on yellow is tiny. BMW, I checked this, BMW so far this year in the UK have sold 106,000 cars, I think, and 58 of them have been yellow.
Right, so is this are we going to put a call out to the world? Just an open letter to
buy
car
yellow
buyers?
cars.
Please buy some yellow cars.
But would you buy a yellow car?
100%
Would
I
you?
would. Yeah, 100%.
I think I'd do it on a case-by-case basis, but I wouldn't have a yellow
I wouldn't buy any
7
old...
Series. But...
Oh, I'd buy a yellow 7 Series.
Well, you can. I think you can, because BMW do yellow on M cars and certain other models, but if you can't have it on the standard range, you can pay extra for BMW individual. So most BMWs, if you really want yellow, they'll do it. You can have a yellow i5, I know that.
I'd love a yellow i3. They didn't do them, I know.
No, but I guess you could always have it wrapped. That's the thing. There's a whole the part of this feature that I've written is also about how yellow cars are always given to characters in comedies.
Really?
In-Betweeners, Better Call Saul, Only Fools and Horses, Detectorists. Comedy characters often have yellow cars.
Gosh,
I won't get into the details of it. I spoke to a brilliant comedy writer and sort of thinker called Joel Morris, who has written a book about why comedy is funny. And he's broken down why yellow cars are given to comedy characters. So and it is actually rooted in the fact that most people don't buy yellow cars, so it makes the character stand out, and our brains register that as a kind of this is unusual, so this person must be unusual.
So is that why I like yellow cars? Am I unusual?
think it probably is, yeah.
I mean, I love my Insight that's not yellow, even though it's called citrus yellow. Is it? It's not yellow. Yeah, it's just Honda being weird. But please buy yellow cars, people, because when they come on the second-hand market, perverts like us 15 years down the line will go, you never guess what I've found. Guess what's come up on the Pistonheads auction? It's one of them, but in yellow.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, well, on that call to action, it's probably time to end. Before we go, I've got 3 things to tell you. First of all, Jonny's engaged in an amazing project to remake an old film about a terrible apocalyptic future, but starring multiple versions of our favourite female singer under the working title 28 Sade Later.
God,
Thank you to our friend Lewis Warren for that one.
I'm just trying to think, how many of these have involved Sade now?
No, I think
there's a smaller
that's the theme.
There's a small
but
obsession.
I can't deny I'm running out. That's not to taste. There's always the Late Break Show, of course. Lots of excellent videos on there. This podcast is going out in over a week away, so you're not going to know what's up there, are you?
Do you know what? I could quickly look.
You
at
look it up while I do. Second thing I have to say is that we, of course, have merchandise, new caps, new T-shirts, CMTNB. 2.2
Believe
Spec D, loads of new designs. Go to smithandsniff.com and look at the merch on there. Also, we have a live show in Eastbourne in February. Follow the live show link if you'd like to buy a ticket for that. If you want to send us a message, hello@smithandsniff.com is the best way to reach us. And the third thing I've got to tell you is that I can't find my notes, and maybe I didn't write anything down. So
I do an auction preview for Iconic Auctioneers. On the video will go out on Friday the 6th of December.
Yes.
And they're always quite popular because you get to see what the car market is doing.
Yes, what is it doing?
Well, it's all over the shop.
Yeah,
and there's some stuff that's really buoyant, and there's some stuff which is bargainous at the moment.
Yeah, it does feel like a buyer's market.
It is a buyer's market, I would say, on the whole. Yeah. And I would say if you're trying to sell an Aston DB6, it's not a good time to sell one.
Not a good time. A 20th Century went through an auction for 12 grand the other day.
Oh, that's a trousers and pants down big boy wee car.
If you're interested in auction results, Chuck goes by the username Luden Automotive on social media. Follows all the auctions and puts up the results on the socials. It's fascinating.
It is quite addictive.
Well, on that note, thank you ever so much for listening. We'll be back again on Friday with another Otter Sock. Until then, goodbye.
Thanks, guys. Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Bye.
So you've enjoyed this podcast, but you've had a thought. Is there a way here today that you could show support. Well, you could join our Patreon, what wonders that it brings. Early shows and extra notes on that side of things. You could buy our merchandise, we've mugs and hats but still no ties. One day we will make those pies, but in the meantime guys, hey guys, like and subscribe and maybe leave a nice review. Like and subscribe, we know you know just what to do. Like and subscribe, we don't want to take the piss. Like and subscribe, but we were told to ask for this. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
I actually nearly forgot nearly forgot the catchphrase.
Forgot the catchphrase.
Here's me.
Hi, I'm Bruce Forsyth. Nice to see
Some people. Well,
just nice to see some of you.
well, in the words of Paul Young, wherever I come, that's my home.